And I don't even know if it's 6. That's just what came up on my screen. So we'll go with that. Hey, I'm Rob Southgate. With me is
Phil Parrish.
Hey, Phil. Boy, you look way better than I do. I was out late with Jack last night.
I actually got a full night's sleep, yeah, so I probably might be.
Oh man, I go to bed earlier. I'm an older guy. We go to bed at 10, 11 o'clock. Lay in bed and read on your phone or whatever for a little bit. This I don't know. We got in at 1 or something, and then I was like, oh no, I've got reading club in the morning. I better read these. It was brutal. So I'm pretty tired, and I look just awful. I'm looking at myself. I'm like, oh, there's nothing. So, folks at home, I'm not sorry. What do I care? What do you care, right?
No,
you like comic books. You probably look exactly like this. So
that's right. You're here for the talk.
You're here for the talk. So we're gonna roll through a couple of different ones. Let's start, and we'll do them actually as separate episodes. So I'll probably edit this little bit out, or probably not, knowing us. So for episode 6, issue 6, let's do Damage Control from 1991.
Okay.
Was that was the first run of Damage Control?
I don't know. Was there one from like 89 or something?
That might be. You know what? That is what I read. Was not the 91 one, although I did read it. It was that earlier one. I believe. Here we go.
There was like
going to be exciting.
Was there like 2 or 3
series?
Yeah.
Here we go. This is what I read that I wanted to do for today. It's from 89. These were all McDuffie and Colin. Oh boy, we're going to fall into a rabbit hole with that one. Ernie Colon and Dwayne McDuffie. They're who are listed on here. Let's see if we get anything more when we go to the actual comic. First of all, straight up, what did you think of this series?
I liked it. It wasn't like a big in-depth story. It was almost like
Dwayne McDuffie was the writer, by the way. Okay, go ahead.
Like if you were reading like Marvel comics at that time, it was like a nice companion piece. Like you're like, oh, because just reading this, I think. Well, I read both series, but I was like, oh yeah, because this was the point when this character was at this point in their book. Saw some Iron Man, X-Men. You're like, oh yeah, the X-Men were supposed to be. Everyone thought the X-Men were dead at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was interesting. I did not read this. I was aware of it, obviously, because we've talked about it on Nuff Said a lot, joking around about this type of group. I had never read this, and my initial reaction to it, well, first of all, I did like it quite a bit. So I'll put that right up here. I don't want it to sound like I'm complaining about stuff. I want people to understand I did like this, and I thought it was definitely worth the read, especially if you read books from that era. Like you said, if you read Marvel books in the late 80s, and that was kind of an era that you were really deep into it, this is a fun companion piece. My initial reaction to the book itself is, as a run, it's only 4 issues. Then they did a second 4-issue run. Both of them are completely disjointed. There is an overarching story to them, but not really. I mean, there is. Here's what I think. I thought they were funny. They really served a purpose. They were funny. They showed a different side of things. They had definite characters that were unique in the Marvel universe, and a great perspective. But the stories, like, you read one issue and they're cleaning up for the X-Men, right? You read another issue, Spider-Man is relegated to work with them because he's caused damage, and now he has to work with these guys to help repair something. Like, they all were almost standalone stories, but then there was this kind of overarching story of the Damage Control group, which normally you would say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But they were 4-issue runs. If you're going to do a 4-issue run, you better have a solid overarching story with Damage Control, and then tell your micro stories within that, and it would have been a lot more accessible, I think. And I think it actually probably would have taken off more, because like I said, 2 4-issue runs is not a success story necessarily, even though it has a lasting effect. And I really liked it. I especially liked these characters, these damage control people. I don't know. Did you feel that same way?
Yeah, no, I liked it. I mean, you really got a vibe that these could have been real people, and the whole 4-issue thing. I think like back during that time, that was
This
like
was
the
a popular
standard.
thing.
Yeah, 4 issues. That's how they usually did all their miniseries. But the 2 series, I mean, they had a lot of similarities, but they were kind of different because the first series kind of got into like the actual employees of damage control, but the second one, I think that what was it? It tied in with Acts of Vengeance, so there was like
something like that. Yeah,
more heavy, into the Marvel universe.
And I liked that second one.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was just kind of a unique point in time, and I think it's definitely worth reading, especially now. Let's actually reframe it. If you're an MCU fan, if you're a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the stuff that we talk about, this actually fits. And I go back to what we've said a million times on Nuff Said when we were joking about, Charlie the janitor should be a character. He cleans up after these guys. There it is. And I could absolutely see this being either a web series, which would not be a bad idea. After every one of these big blockbuster films, or after the season ends for Daredevil or for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., do a short, what comes to be maybe 15 minutes, but they're like 5 3-minute episodes of damage control with these characters dealing with the aftermath. Not just cleaning up, but like we saw here, they actually had a story of things they had to do. I would totally watch that. I would totally be into it.
Well, I mean, you could even do like a summer series on ABC, because I mean, look, they're putting Powerless on NBC now.
Yeah, and frankly, Powerless looks like a disaster to me. I hope it's good. I always have hope.
Yeah,
it looks like a disaster.
As a DC fan too, I'm kind of scared.
and I like most of the cast. I'm like, you've got really good people here. But they've already changed that from being just like insurance people that deal with superheroes to now they're like people that fix Wayne's tech. It's like you false started and you're already changing course, and we haven't seen episode 1 yet. I'm a little nervous about that. I hope it's good. I hope it's good. But this I think would work a lot better. Now, if this was a regular series, I think we would lose interest real fast. But if this was a thing like Slingshot was, if this was something, how they have their Easter eggs, or remember how they used to do the one-shots, which is my favorite thing. Do a one-shot of damage control at the end of things. There's your answer. Don't even do the web series. Do a one-shot. After every one of these comes out, you do a one-shot that is just these characters. They're already in place. The actors are already cast. You already got the sets because you use the same things, the same assets that you did from the movie with these guys. That would be amazing.
Or do you think it would work if they like folded it in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like every so often you'd see these guys come in?
And that would tie your universe in a lot better, too. I know there's always that question. In our heads, in your head, in my head, in the fans' head, it is one singular universe, and we're always confused when they don't treat it as such. I don't know why they don't. And then they do a little bit, and you go, wait a minute, this is one. This would be the way to tie it in without having Tony Stark have to come into everything. These guys are in your tag. You get 30 seconds of these guys, and you get to know these characters, but without having to build a property around them. Somebody get Marvel on the phone. Plus, I thought the writing was funny. I really did think that. Now I've already lost everybody's names here. Hold on, I'll get them. And I did like the art too. It had a very McDuffie. I thought McDuffie's writing was very funny on this, and it didn't seem Marvel-ish, because a lot of the books at that time kind of had a similar pattern to them. Just like when Stan Lee was in charge, there was a similar pattern to the Marvel books. There was a similar pattern in the late 80s, even though the artwork was getting a little different with, Mike Vack and, some of these guys doing stuff. The language, the way they used it was similar. It wasn't until, later when we started getting these writers that they said, run with it, do these creative decisions and change things up in a big way. This one, McDuffie stood out as unique, as
Oh yeah,
funny, unique voice.
I think you had to go funny with this. I mean, if you try to take this too serious, I don't think it would have been as successful as it was.
Yeah, yeah. I did like the Iron Man story. You know what? I think my favorite thing in this was when they had to go to Victor Von Doom's. I thought that was really clever. And I thought how he handled it when he was like, you know what? They get there and they're asking for the money for the insurance or whatever. And he's just like everyone's like, oh, it's going to be terrible. And finally at the end, he's just like, just pay these guys. Get them off my back. Like even as supervillain, it's like, I mean, I've got bigger things to deal with than insurance guys. A lil. Get out of here.
And yeah, it's just funny because it's, like we said, it's a product of its time, because even back then, Tony Stark had the secret identity. Iron Man was his bodyguard.
Yes, and that was all in here. I think the weakest book was the X-Men book, because it was trying to bite off a lot, and it seemed very disjointed to me.
Well, plus because it was all flashback, because everyone thought the X-Men were dead at that point.
Yes. So that was the only part that I felt didn't really work for me, but I'm not throwing it under the bus. I think it's worth reading. It's 4 issues. You're going to read the 4 and then want to read the other 4.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. We got anything more to say about it?
I don't think.
Okay. All right. Here, I'm going to try and do something. We'll see if this works.
Okay.
I make no guarantees, people. There's the issue. Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
Good enough. Look at my shaky hand, all that coffee and hanging out with Jack. We went and saw Doctor Strange yesterday, and he showed his hands, after he gets all messed up. Spoiler, he gets messed up hands. And Jack leans over. He's like, dude, those look like your hands. Missing finger. They're all shaky and old, weird, Hey, man, I've worked, Is
that the first time you saw it?
Yeah, that was the first time I'd seen it. So maybe we'll do a review episode with everybody and just kind of have some fun talking about it when the video comes out, because I have a lot to say, but it's all good. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Oh yeah.
So all right, let's end this one. Let's give a little information so people know where to find us. Everything. You know what? Let's not. Everything's in the show notes, except Phil. You've got a couple of different projects outside of Nuff Said. Go ahead and give any Twitter stuff, and let's and throw out what you're doing now.
Well, right now, if you like DC, check out Before the Bat, Legends of DC podcast, Channel 52 with Lilith. But you can always get a hold of me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com, and on Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. Basically everything's on southgatemediagroup.com.
And I was actually giving you an opportunity to promote your newest Nuff Said show. Phil has another one now, which is really good. Wade's World, your Deadpool podcast with Lilith. Lilith, the DC fangirl who has now been absorbed into Nuff Said. Do I look like Dr. Doom there? Ooh, I look like Iron Fist. Yeah, man. Wade's World, good times. Good times. You know what? You got to watch the next episode to hear some of the other new stuff we're going to be doing. That's it, everybody. Thanks for watching. We will be back next week, maybe in 2 minutes. Nuff Said.
Nuff Said.